We can hear you.
Yes, you're on.
All right, let's see if we're really on. I think I've got just about everything that's supposed to be happening here.
On your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, sometimes radio isn't as easy as it appears, but we persevere anyway. The Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, everybody. Another Saturday evening with your Old Tube radios. Of course, the shortwave listeners tuning in along with us to find out what is going to be glowing in the dark tonight. My name is Dennis, your net controller tonight of the Old Tube Radio Network. A happening that takes place here on 27085 Channel 11 in the Central Valley of California every Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and it's been happening for many, many years thanks to you and all of your radios, and we will be checking in and talking with and talking about and tuning up and whatever it is that we do with those old radios tonight. Starting off with the shortwave listener roll call. Normally, this would be the end of the 8-week roster where I would do the SWL 00, but I ran into, I had to run away just at a critical time out of the air chair here, and I just got back shortly. So I don't properly have that set up to do the 00 check-in. So instead of just faking it, I will delay that until next week. So we'll continue as is. I think the net stream is up at oldtuberadio.net for those listening in. I have reset the video link. So if you clicked on the one that was up there a couple minutes ago, it's probably wrong. I think there's a new one that has the right setting for it. And then the YouTube video, hey, there we are, that you may be watching live or perhaps in the future or the past. It's beaking around the universe. So here we go. Directed net to roll call. And Paul, if you're there, we're gonna. I guess you're gonna get paid overtime. I'm gonna see if you can do another week of 00 over.
Well, I appreciate it. I'd like to go overtime. So here I am, 00, checking in.
All right, we are all working overtime tonight, and then you may see me adjusting things as we go for stuff that didn't get quite set up properly or things that are failing. But the main thing is, even if I am gone out of the picture, you should still hear the Old Tube Radio checking in tonight. And that is the main thing. That is why we are here every Saturday evening, to make sure that everybody's got a chance to fire up the old radios. Checking in SWL number 1. And looking for Mr. OBP SWL 2. I haven't even had a chance to take a look at the items here on the list. And there is Mr. OBP saying the MUF is between 15 and 12 meters. There are a lot of stations saying they have a lot of noise tonight. So whether that's QRM or QRN or the atmosphere is a lie, we will find out. There were just like 5 minutes of stations coming in on the Friday night net from the northwest, probably about this time. So we'll see if the band opens up. Mr. OBP, got you checked in. Thanks for the propagation report. Over to SWL3. I will get a check-in for Rob. I missed the virtual online Clovis Amateur Radio Pioneer meeting that was, or is it coming up this Friday? No, I guess it was this Friday. So I missed that. I was going to be there, so Rob will tell us all about that at some point. SWL number 4. SWL5, I'm going to get a proxy check-in for Ida, Mama Rose. SWL6. A shortwave listener number 7.
Number 7, checking in.
Sounding good here on the low propagation 11-meter band. I guess I heard you say earlier that the bands were open today, though, right? probably up on, or down on 17 meters. Might make it here to 11. Next, we've got SWL 10. And that's Chrissy and the gang up there in Idaho. Let me see if Chrissy is there, and she is definitely on the screen. Hello, Chrissy. I will get to you and 30 checked in. Hope all has gone well this week, and you can enjoy the old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 13. And my comments are refreshing slow. I'm going to get Mike checked in. He was, I know he's out there, and he left a check-in on the Facebook page, and he might be out there live and direct tonight. I'll keep an ear and an eye out. Over to SWL 14. Yeah, Chrissy, I was wondering about the wind chill. I have a brother's in Lawrence, Kansas, and I think it was it was 4 degrees or something, but the wind chill was down like minus 14. So it's a little bit nasty out there, and at 20 degrees without the wind in Idaho. Make sure you have your mittens and whatever else you need to stay warm. Over to SWL 14. SWL 16. And, I haven't checked anything on the page. That's Charlie up there in Anoka. Let's go to this screen and see who is in the audience. Oh, look at that. It doesn't happen often, but he knows, when he has the key, he's got the combination right in the front row, in that special chair that's just off the camera here. Charlie is sitting in that one tonight, sort of like the executive producer's chair. So he's gonna point to me when there's smoke in the room. And notice I'm not even in uniform tonight. I didn't even have time to run into the OTR dressing room. So Charlie was like, get in and get started. All right, I am doing that. Thanks for keeping things going while I'm running around here. Let's try, and I think I heard this gentleman earlier on a tube radio, SWL 17. All right, we will see. I could have sworn I might have heard the voice of Eric out there. Let's try SWL 18. And SWL 19. Let's see, where is the show? Is Belfast, Maine, Derby, New York. It's Belfast, Maine, right there. Coming in tonight, up in the front row. Hello, Chet. Hope all is going good. A late night up on the East Coast, where there's probably all sorts of AM and sideband signals beaconing on 70 and 45 and 160, and maybe even 11 meters as well. Thanks for checking in. Over to shortwave listener number 20.
Number 20 here. Please check in 2954 and 135 if he doesn't make it all by himself. And also, possibly proxy me in for next week if I don't get back in time.
All right, got all that. We'll get you next week if we don't get back in time. I might have the crossband set up to hear you if that's the case. Talked to Cliff earlier. He has, or is contemplating an old tube radio in a possible mobile fashion tonight, getting checked in. So we'll see if that is working. We did the test earlier, and it sounded really good. So, and likewise, you are sounding great. So thanks for checking in.
Okay, catch you later.
All right, very good. I want to say hello to the Google bots checking in. Mountain View, the Mountain View stations checking us out on YouTube to see if we're doing anything naughty. And indeed, for the last 35 years, for wholesome family entertainment on your old tube radio network, just the way it was back in 1962 when you knew it was safe to turn on the radio. Next, we've got SWL 21, and I apologize to Mr. JT out there in the Wasama swamps. Because I was out of the air chair, I did not have a chance to get in and see what was happening on Old Radio Night tonight. But a little birdie tells me that there was something, because it's World Radio Day, is it not? Those in the know that it is a World Radio Day. And if we go to the right camera here, what was happening on Old Radio Night tonight? There it is. It was the Browning, what's I don't even know what that's called. Browning Eaglet? That is the radio. Right there from Browning. Let's see if we've got any audio. Galaxy, no, not the Galaxy Saturn. How about, well, for some reason it defaulted, oh, I know why. Is it that one? No. See, it's not wanting to play. You must have done something super secret tonight there, JT, because I can't find... Oh, there it is. It's a World Radio Day celebrating an Old Radio Night Browning Eaglet 2. So that is the radio that is happening. Is there audio from the Browning Eaglet? Here it is. There's also something with a lot of tubes and no case on it. I'm not sure what that is. Next to your radio tonight. So let us know. And as always, Old Radio Night seems to propagate well. Seems to open up the frequency. So we do have you checked in. Thanks. And sorry I missed it.
17 checking in.
All right. I knew there was a station I heard earlier, and I think you can probably hear me now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I fixed the audio issue, so 17 is checked in, and we will be, no doubt, talking with that particular radio coming up. Thanks for checking in, Eric. '20 is checked in. 21 is checked in. SWL 22. And SWL 23, I had a note that we were going to try doing the satellite uplink tonight, the TubeSat. And I'm looking to see if I have any of the gear set up to try that on the TubeSat. Let's see, to do that, I would need to bring up the link, the antenna link. Charlie's helping me out. Charlie and Chuck just ran up to the roof to see if the dish is set up right. All right. Getting some audio. Let's see if there is a check-in, and this would be Mitch, who is probably over on the coast. I don't know where he is tonight. Hello, SWL 23 up there coming through TubeSat. We'll give it about 4 seconds for the delay. If not, then we're probably not linked up correctly tonight. We'll see. I'm looking for SWL 23 here. Bring some audio. All right, well, we'll try it again. I don't think we're quite linked up, and that's probably my fault on that. So,
Hello, Dennis, and good evening, SWLs. 23 Skidoo here, checking in via TubeStar satellite from Aptos on the central coast of California. Over.
All right, I think you're coming through. I heard you. Make sure you're beaconing out. The radio is sounding good, thanks to our crew up there on the roof of the old Tube Radio building. I think we're pointed almost in your direction. Signal strength is a little weak, so if possible, and you've got a radio tonight, is that correct? We'll bring up the link again, probably in about maybe 45 minutes. I think that's when the next pass is. So if you're around in 45 minutes, we'll try it again. Over, back to you.
Very good, Dennis. We'll wait and keep things on standby here, so we're ready when the next pass of the bird comes over, and we'll talk to you then.
All right, good deal. Well, I didn't break everything tonight. TubeSat is up and running. We seem to have the link, and we will see if we'll get a radio check-in from that coming up. All right, back to the control room here. I don't see any smoke. Everything's good. Charlie is pointing, saying, "Keep going with the roll call." He says, "We want to get to the radios." Yes, we do. Let's try SWL 24. SWL 25.
Well, hello, Dennis. 25. Notice you forgot your pocket protector tonight with at least 10 pins in it. So other than that, we're doing good, and the chats are alive and well on the net there. So, and also, if you wouldn't mind, check in 74. She's down to 12,000 watts tonight. So. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind doing that for me, that'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, back to you, Dennis. Sounded good.
All right, I will do that. Yeah, I literally had to run. I had everything set up early, as I normally do. Well, not everything. I had the transmitter set up. Then I had to run out, and I got back very late. Like I said, I did not make it by the OTR dressing room tonight. It's not like Johnny Carson, where they have someone following you around and they put the jacket on you and put the tie on. I don't have that here. But we do have people that help set up the studio and get the jingle singers up and running. But I'm sort of on my own. So we will try it next week. You are sounding good, and we've got you checked in here on the old Tube Radio Network.
All right, Dennis. A quick question: exactly what does Bozo do then?
That is the question I'm asking. I know he hangs out over. Where he's talking about Bozo Control, the honking proboscis, and I think the other thing he does is take rides in the limousine. Whenever the drivers show up, he's like the first one to hop in the back seat and go. What the thing? John Wayne, yo, and then there they go and around the parking lot. So I think we could do better.
Plus, he eats all the cookies.
And the peanut butter.
That's right. But he's part of the contract for this thing, so it is what it is. Thanks for checking in. Over to page 2 for SWL 27.
Number 27's checking in via the FM crossband.
And there is 27 via the FM crossband, so that's good. The FM is working, the crossband's working, the TubeSat is working, so we're almost at 100%. Got you checked in, sir, KB6GFD.
Roger. KI6QM.
Dwayne is checked in via the crossband, and he is no tube radio wannabe, right? He does have a couple of glow-in-the-dark radios, which we will probably be hearing sometime here in 2021. Next, we go over to SWL 28, Gary in Sacramento. I don't know if the TubeSat ever rolls over Sacramento area, but we might get a link up that way someday. And Gary is out there. He says, hello, everyone, checking in. Says he thinks he ate too many those hard candies. Yes. We have some here. Mine always have sort of derogatory comments on it. They always have something like, that sucks, and, get lost. I must buy the wrong bag. 2 boxes, too many. I would agree with that. Happy Valentine's weekend, everyone, from SWL 28, and he says he's ready for a great show, as am I. We just have to find it somewhere. SWL 29 got a check-in proxy for Mr. Loner. Why do you hear... All right, we've got some items coming in on the crossband or something there. A beacon. Somebody's beaconing somewhere. Bill's in. Also, SWL 30. Hello, Dwayne. Stay warm out there in Idaho. And be careful of the RFI, right? Over to SWL 31. Robert and Teresa in Hendersonville. I didn't look on the list who is in here tonight. Brea, California, up there in the top row. Dallas, Georgia, Fresno, Kerman. Low to Fresno. Blackpool is back. Going up the pool from down the smoke below. The unknown SWL. You see someone running around the stadium here tonight with the bag over their head and the rubber ducky. That is the unknown SWL. Hello to Fairfax, Virginia. Woodland Park, Colorado. Always at the ready for that skip to show up. Lafayette, Louisiana. Good afternoon, good evening to you. Boulder Creek, Colorado. I believe that is, that's probably 23 out there. And a host of others. Looking for SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control, Jingle Singers, whoever happens to jump out of the limousine tonight. SWL 34, Jimmy Railroader, and all the crew that he manages to muster up from the various Facebook pages to jump in here. Hopefully, some of you who have favorite tube radios, you will hear them stop by tonight in about 40 minutes when we open up for the tube radio check-ins. And there is Jimmy from Batavia checking in. Thank you, Mr. Railroader. Let's head over to SWL 35. Looking to see if Mr. Bill is checked in. Cold? Yeah, I bet. Cold and snowy Cheyenne, Wyoming, about 15 minutes ago. Stopping by. Where, if you like ice, if you like ice, that must be the place to be. Hope you are surviving and staying warm. I know you are. Let's go over to SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37, good evening, Dennis.
And good evening, Chris. We've got you checked in on the old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you.
SWL 38. SWL 39. And Dwayne, we see you. Dwayne is out there saying hello to our SWLs on frequency tonight. Let's try SWL 40.
SWL 40, checking in and letting everyone know about the Mars Perseverance rover is going to be landing. It's scheduled for touchdown at approximately 3:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, February 18th. It's the latest rover from NASA to land on Mars.
I'm assuming there might be some type of, I don't know, return video at some point just showing all of this?
Oh, they're going to have apparently this mission will have the most video cameras going while the landing is taking place, and there's probably just going to be one view, one a low speed camera showing pictures on the way down, but then after they get everything downloaded, then we'll see some nice probably 4K video of it landing.
All right, good deal. We will look for that. We are up on TubeSat tonight. at least for a little bit. So we're going to try more of that, and maybe at some point I've got the dual band radio now. We might be able to listen to the when we get one of those good ISS passes, see what kind of audio comes through that. All right, thanks for the update. Directing that roll call is where we are at. This is the old Tube Radio Network. Real radios glowing in the dark. Tube radios from 1958 to 1978. The classic stuff, kind of presented the way it might have been back actually in the day here on your Tube Radio Network. SWL 41 is a Mr. Road Dog 507. Let me scroll the page back up and see if there he is, right on cue, saying hello, radio, checking in from the Hudson Valley of New York with a good evening. Thanks for listening in tonight. SWL 42, I have the proxy check-in for Jerry and the gang, which I'll do. And let's see, gentleman I talked to earlier, I believe he might be here in this station, SWL 43. Hello, Crazy Eddie. All right, and I hope you feel as good as you sound tonight. It's good to hear you.
Not really, and my radio room's full of cobwebs and dust.
That happens sometimes, but hopefully we can be one of those venues that helps clear things out and gets the pipeline of RF running in the right direction. Thanks for shouting at us tonight.
Roger. I'll talk to you next weekend.
All right, sounding good. And I wish to Jimmy, SWL 34, there's a guy that does a check-in on 70 or on 40 meters at night. His name is Mal. It's 7188. And at the end of his net, he has one of those really, and you know, Jimmy, you know what I'm talking about, one of those cool whistles that when you blow into it, it sounds like the train. You know, it's got that perfect whistle. He does it typically at the end of his, I'll have to ask him. That's what I need to do. He does that at the end of his net. So if I had that, we would be doing it right now. Giving a toot for Little Chew out there also checking in tonight on the old Tube Radio Network. Maybe, yeah, we'll just do, no, that's not quite. That's not quite the whistle I was thinking of. 43 is checked in. Let's try SWL 44. And well, he was in last night. I'll keep an eye out if he's on one of the streams here. SWL 45. Hello again, Paul.
Oh, Dennis. I can't see if you got your pen or not because I don't have my iPad working right now. If you got one, you can show it to somebody else. 45, check it in.
Okay, you know what I might do in the transition between shortwave stations and tube stations, I might run out to the dressing room, and at least I've got a pocket. I'm probably not going to have enough time to put on the official OTR outfit, but I may have enough time to run in and get the pocket protector and find the sponsor of the week. So I'll venture to do that. You're sounding good, and we'll talk to you in a bit.
You bet. Thank you.
SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47.
Well, good evening from the Radio Lounge, SWL 47. And I do have to say that I'm sorry that you don't have an entourage to help you out with your attire this evening. I was lucky enough to sit in the audience for an actual taping of the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and I can definitely confirm that he had assistance helping him out with pretty much everything, attire and everything else. So thank you.
And thank you. Yeah, that's how you know you are a star. But again, the stars of the old Tube Radio network are the radios themselves. And they will be here tonight, and there will be certainly an entourage to follow them. Thanks for checking in. And Jimmy, I think you're right. It's a wooden whistle, so it's probably one of those things that's not easy to find. But I'm sure that's what I was talking about. Who else is listening out here tonight? Bob. One of the Bobs is out there listening in tonight. It was actually 63. Butterbean, if you're listening, I'll get you checked in. We're coming up to you, so if you have to jump out, not a problem, and we will get you checked in tonight. Also, the mighty Sierra Romeo, Sierra Sugar Radio. Hi, Keith. The Kerman repeater might actually be down. They're moving some antennas, as you probably know, and moving things around. So they might have, actually the repeater might be up, but the room link might be down. I had it up earlier, but I wasn't listening to see what is happening. So maybe we'll give that a shot later on. Seems like there's a lot going on tonight, but it may take a couple of weeks, but it will be back up, but it's moving locations. And for those who remember Keith, we chatted with Keith last week briefly as he linked in through the Wires X node from his location, his remote location. Hello to Popcorn 913. And there is, I'm looking up, I see them with the bags up in the balcony. So there is definitely popcorn going on. We'll check in with the Bob and Steve show at the break here, see what's happening over in the green room. Paul Vines is also listening in. Hello, Paul. Glad to have you along tonight. Rayovac, of course, is tuning in. Says he wants one of those rare amps. You talk to JT. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be able to loan it to you. Who else tonight? From Minnesota, 22 in frozen Minnesota from BA. Yeah, that's what it is. North Charleston, who says he wished it was snowing in South Carolina. And I looked at those pictures of Mo Rocca. I will have to see what he wears. What does Mo wear? And then maybe we can do a Mo Rocca night here on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, let's continue with the SWLs. Looking for a 48. SWL 49. SWL 50.
Live and kicking and checking in.
All right, well, it's sounding good. Hopefully you're blowing the like Crazy Eddie. You're blowing the cobwebs off of things up there.
Oh yeah.
Well, it sounds good. Probably frying a few of them right now with that key up. We got you checked in, Mark. Thanks. Then over to SWL 51. Dave out there, 305 near Sanger.
305 in Sanger, checking in.
All right, checking in and sounding good. And just a reminder for those of you who do have the video, I try to keep the S meter up on the screen. So if you're watching live, you can give yourself a signal report on my very low antenna and less than stellar receiver here. But typically, if you're above my attenuated noise level with the RF, you'll hear yourself and see the signal, and you're doing good, Dave. Thanks for checking in.
Hey, Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Just for you.
All right. That's close. That's close to what I was thinking of. But for 34 and Little Chew, the track is wide open tonight for tube radios to come barreling through, and they will be doing that shortly. Before I go back to the SWL list, there was another break for OTR. Go ahead.
Dennis, if you want one of those whistles, I'll find you one.
I guess that would be cool. I'm thinking that they're probably hard to find, and they may not be all that inexpensive. But I've seen them before, and I know they sound cool.
Comment. Or I'll find you one, and I'll get it shipped to you somehow.
All right, that's a good deal. The comment. Go ahead.
All right. So there was a local music store that did sell them, and I can tell you exactly why. There's I think the composer was Robert W. Smith, who composes great music, especially for middle school kids. There was a piece he did called The Great Locomotive Chase. And one of the auxiliary percussion instruments that you needed for that was a train whistle. In Clovis, there's a music store, and there is only one music store in Clovis. That back when I first purchased that piece, they sold it. It's a little teeny sucker. It's not made out of balsa wood, but something pretty close to it. I think it was $7 or something like that. Now you can, if you're serious, you can go all the way up to. I think I found one for $100 that I was considering purchasing, but that was a little too expensive for my pocketbook. But yeah, those they're called train whistles, and no, they don't sound as good as the one that SWL20 just seems to have demonstrated. They're pretty cool. Even the cheap ones sound pretty fun.
Okay, great information. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. I know of the store that you speak of because I think I have a few items of interest from that place, and it sounds like in the not too distant future we may be able to, well, if it's not blow our own horn, toot our own whistle. And it would be interesting to hear that piece and play it. But there are copyright things. Even just a second of copyrighted material on YouTube that the jingle singers are okay. It'll get that thing yanked right off. So we'll have to take a rain check on that. Good deal. Thank you for that information. Also, and standing by is SWL52 who checked in moments ago. And Aaron, if you're listening, I just saw the email that you sent, so I will look at that a little bit closer and see what's going on with that. And he also says, this is now the They Have Gone Plaid radio network. So yeah, I've been called out. Everybody thought I was a debonair with the seersucker suit, but this is sort of the way that I have to run around town occasionally. So at least I'll get the pocket protector. I think I'm going to try and get the pocket protector. Behind the golden iPad, Aaron, you are checked in. Let's head over to SWL53.
That's the 153 Bel Air checking in.
And hello, 53 Bel Air. You are sounding good here in Midtown Fresno tonight. We've got you checked in.
Thank you, thank you.
And Aaron says, so email still works. Is there something new that I'm missing? I still bought stamps. I just bought stamps the other day. So that shows you where I'm at. We've got to check in for 54. Mr. Boardjammer, let's head up to see if the guys up in the hills are on. SWL 55. And then, now this station here, not only does he probably not do email, I bet he does. And he might still buy stamps, but I think he has a few carrier pigeons and straps the note and sends them off. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
Sounding good, Phil. We do have you checked in. Yeah, we'll have to get, we've got the satellite going. Maybe we'll have a few contacts in from the pigeons tonight. Over to SWL 57. And that is Brown Dog Audio, who is listening in from central Kentucky, I believe, checking in and periodically defrosting the aluminum vertical. Now, we're not telling the FCC, but that I think that typically means that the Texas Star or whatever is running through the coax. So hopefully it's not freezing too bad up there. It says planning for more ice and snow tomorrow evening. And he's officially hunkered down in the radio rack. So sometimes a tube amp or a tube radio will help out, at least on the interior point, and keep that antenna working. Thanks, BDA. Over to SWL 58.
Proxy in 58. He said he just flew in from Tennessee and his arms are tired.
Yeah, you took my line. So you want to be the punch guy and the straight man. That's perfect. All right, 58 will be checked in. Jeremy, who the originator. If you're not familiar with the Friday night net, sideband net, 36 lower, that's 27,365 here locally in the Central Valley. And we had some skip openings last night. That's 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here on upper lower 36. Everyone is welcome on the Ditch Banks sideband net. I guess I should name that. Thanks for the proxy. Over to SWL 59. Shortwave listener 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Evening time to the fellows out there. SWL 60, checking in.
All right, you are beaconing into the old tube radio net control station tonight, and I will give you the X in the square. We are directed net roll call. Real radios coming up shortly. Don't go away. SWL 61.
Copenhagen Kid would like a proxy in. He is in Fresno without a radio.
Man, how does that happen? I thought he was radioactive all over. And by the way, I did slip down to that other frequency that you mentioned last night and heard you both sounding good, like the only people on frequency. And the AM was doing good. All right, Dino's checked in. Let's go to SWL 62. SWL 63. That's Butterbean. I've got him checked in. He said he was wanting to retire early. Actually, it might be early here on the West Coast, but where he's at, it's still late enough. So if you're still listening, we got you checked in, or maybe you're watching the video, and you will see that, yes, you are checked in. Over to SWL 64. Shortwave listener 65. SWL 66. Shortwave listener 67, that would be Bill. Let me go back to the other screen, and Bill's in Canby, Oregon. Joining us tonight, Squamish. Hey, up there, way up there. Okay, they've got popcorn. I don't know, a whole bag of stuff. I'll have to find out what's going on in the green room tonight. Looks like they've sampled everything. When the boys from Squamish come in, we usually rope off a section up there in the balcony, and they have a grand old time. Is it Blanchester, Ohio? Hello, Auberry's in. Brea's still in. Who is in? Who am I looking for here? I'm looking for somebody on the list. I don't know. Oh, it's Canby, Oregon. Scrolling up. Don't see Canby in. All right, we'll put a hold on that. Let's try SWL 68. SWL 69. That is Kenny out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Kenny, we are saying hello. I know you will check in sometime this week and leave a message. Kenny says he enjoys the old tube radio network replays and all his old friends here out in the Central Valley. We miss you, Kenny. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 70. And DD21, I will have to check out that doppelganger. I've been accused of looking like people. What was the guy? It was years ago. What was the show? It was the character's name was Bentley. Good Times? No, I don't know. It was the spin-off of All in the Family. Moving on up something. Everybody said, you are Bentley. And I'd never even heard of the guy. And then I looked at it and said, I don't know, maybe I am Bentley. Let's go over to SWL 71. Dallas, Georgia. Stan, I know, is out on the radio tonight. So thanks for tuning us in here on the Old Tube Radio Network. The Jeffersons. Thank you, Paul. I knew it was something like that. I was thinking of the theme song, I think was moving on up, but that was for the Jeffersons. Over to SWL 72. SWL 73. I'm giving John a check-in, 73. He was on the cross band earlier, listening for the beacon. There's an AM beacon that just went up today, and I don't know if it's on tonight or not. And I doubt I can hear it. I don't even want to try, but it's at 478 kilohertz. So you'd have to have a receiver that goes below the broadcast band. And I think it's at about 100 watts. Someone has resurrected an old beacon and put it on the air here, and not too far away. So if you want it SWL and you've got a good long wire antenna or a receiver, dial down to 478 kilohertz below your AM broadcast band and listen for the CW beacon that just went up today. I think he said he was going to keep it on a little bit tonight. We've got to check in for SWL 74. And that takes us over to SWL 75. SWL 77.
Good evening, Dennis. And 73 is all the listeners. And 77 on the Tower of Power. Checking in.
Sounding good out there in the Tower of Power, where they try to keep the power on. I think there was a couple of power hits out that way yesterday. I think we got one at the radio station, but we've got everything on battery, so everything seemed to be okay. You are sounding good, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you, thank you.
Over to SWL 78. Speaking of the Tower of Power, the Wildemar station, and I think I did see somewhere, where did I see you? Richard was checking it. I think he might have been on the other screen here. But anyway, Richard, I saw you on, and I'm going to get you checked in from, I think you're still in Wildemar tonight. Yeah, checking in from wonderful, windy Wildemar. So with that wind, either something's blowing in or something's blowing out. That's the way it was. It's been windy here the last couple of days because it's doing that. Things are going in and out. Hope to catch you on 40 meters in the morning sometime. Seems like we'd have a good shot. The band is usually open for those of us who have bad power and low vertical antennas. Over to SWL 79. Shortwave listener 80. And before I turn the page, or as we turn the page, let's head over and see what is happening in the green room tonight. That means it is time for the Bob and Steve show.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
And they were busy tonight. I saw there was a couple of limousines. I couldn't even get in through the driveway here tonight. The limousines were out. Probably, I don't know, left over with nothing to do on the Super Bowl. And I know they'll be busy for Valentine's Day. You know, taking the tube radios to all your tube radio sweethearts. What is going on? Happy Washington's birthday and Valentine's Day from the green room. It says, we saw your silhouette in the bleachers at the Super Bowl. Was that me? That might have been me. After the show tonight, we are taking the Jingle Singers to Tampa, picking it up, and off to the Daytona 500. Your silhouette will be in the stands. All right, it's great to be infamous, or is that anonymous and great? Great but anonymous, or something like that. Turn 3, row OTR, seat 33. All right, I'll remember that. I like that. I'm sure you had to pay super extra money to get seat 33 once again. But it is in row OTR, so it is probably behind the restrooms. and downwind from the restrooms as well. After the race, we are putting it in the green room elevator for all to see. And because I may have some ups and downs, I think I will have that. So I I want to see how true to life the silhouette is. At the bar tonight, leftovers from the Super Bowl party. That's what I thought was going on. There just seems to be food all over. The Squamish guys have the whole top row up in the balcony of something going on. So go up there and see what they're doing. The Jingle Singers say feed the fish. No, they fed the fish. All right. I say feed the fish, but they're already fed. At least they're doing something. Thanks, guys. SWL 81, Steve, Mr. Unicorn, who is at the secret location, but is listening in or watching in at this moment. Hello, Steve Areno, the old tube radio network. We'll see if we can't get some check-ins from you by hook or crook or two-way or satellite or something. SWL 82.
82, checking in from the ditch banks of Iowa.
And the ditch banks are sounding good. We have not had enough rain to affect the ditch banks, so I know they're still high and mostly dry.
Well, when we had that big rain, you did get some of the runoff water from Fresno.
That's not a good thing. Runoff water is not good, and if it's coming from Fresno, well, what can I say? We got you checked in.
Evening, DB.
And 83 is on my list, and I do believe that Mr. Epimetheus is up and running on the list here tonight. So 83, I've got you checked in. I know I saw you in jumping in earlier. Says stomach issues. Oh, hey, see you later. All right. So maybe you'll watch the replay. I hope it was, what do they say? It must have been something I ate. So maybe it was something you ate. And you're feeling better now. Thanks for waving a hand. And feel better, as they say. Feel better, won't you? And I hope you do. SWL 84 is next. We'll get a proxy in for Cheerios Kid. Over to Reedley, SWL 85. We'll get the check-ins for SWL 86, SWL 87, and SWL 88, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively. Over to SWL 89. A proxy check-in for SWL 90. Then that takes us to SWL 91. Mr. Felix, I know you are there. Did I see you? Yeah, you were right, like up at the top of the page. You were the first one in the digital door tonight. So Felix, we've got you checked in. Hope all is going well. Over to SWL 92. SWL 93. SWL 95. And there's Felix. There's the... I had to know better. I had to know better to wait for the giant check mark. I'm gonna copy that all over here somewhere. He's got the green. I think Chrissy likes that. It's sort of a green check mark. Saying hello to all of the net. Warthog 95 is also checking in. You know what? I forgot to put your call. I always put people's calls if they've got them on the list here. So in case I remember and I'm out on the bands and I see the call, I will say, hey, I know you. I think I know you. All right. Got you checked in, sir. Thanks for, let me get 95. Let me get the official, there it is, check in. Then we go over to SWL 97, Boston 97. Jim is checking in and saying hello, radio, for the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Yes, we will have radios coming up shortly. SWL 98, hello, Dave.
Hello, Dennis, checking in.
All right, thanks for being patient, and you are sounding good. Then we go to SWL 103. SWL 109. SWL 110. Checking in earlier, as usual, we can hear him. What do they used to say? 10-2, wall to wall. I remember that. I remember that phrase from the 70s. 10-8 and 10-9 and no 10, not 10-9, 10-8 and 10-10. Robert, if you're listening, you've got your checked in. We can't seem to make the trip down that way. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
Evening time, Rickshaw.
And Wayne is sounding good. Mr. Rickshaw, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dennis.
Then we go over to SWL 128, John in Fairfax, Virginia. I'm scrolling about an hour ago. John gets in early because it gets late out there in Virginia. Checking in, 128 is in tonight. Thank you. Then we'll go up to SWL 131. And then SWL 133.
Hello, Dennis. 133, checking in.
All right, Dave, sounding good from Northwest Fresno tonight. Thanks for checking in. And Chet says out there in Derby, he is 10-8, he is 10-10. The degrees it's a little bit more than 10 degrees, it's 19. So he's 10-19 on the degrees, and he is 10 times 2 out the HE20 Charlie, keeping his hands warm on the Lafayette tonight. So we'll get you the virtual Lafayette to check in. Let's head over to SWL 135.
KD6GFD, this is KD6QLG.
All right, trying to find the right microphonium. Hello, radio, KB6GFD.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. 135 checking in, KD6QLG.
All right, we got you checked in via the crossband. Thanks, KB6GFD. All right, via the crossband radio, Mr. Green Arrow. Checking in tonight, as you may or may not have heard moments ago. Let's try SWL 137. SWL 145.
Good evening, Dennis and the gang. This is Tony 145 in Corsco. Trying something a little different. Hope you can hear me okay tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying different, but you sound good. I've got audio, and the signal is above the noise level, so put a Post-it note on that it works.
Okay, very good. And thank you so much for running the net, Dennis. Really appreciate it.
All right. Well, I guess we couldn't have a net if it wasn't for our tube radio operators and shortwave listeners. So thanks for that. Thanks for checking in. And here is one of our digital shortwave listeners who's been hanging in with us for a long time, SWL 147, out there in Kakalaki, but he used to hail from these parts at some point, because I know he's got a 6 call. You can't do that, I think. I should at least, step into California for at least a day or two. Is in the house, raining and cold for 2 days, but no snow. Conditions roll in strong at the usual hours on the bands. Deep South was all over last night, then gone away fast. That's the way it was on the net last night. Stations were coming in out of the northwest at S9, 10 over. And 5 minutes later, they were gone. I went up to check the beacons on 10 meters, and there were none. That's a propagation for you at the bottom of the solar cycle. Let's go up to Course Gold, SWL 195. And I will listen in for SWL 226. And I will also listen in for any stations that I might have missed or anybody that wants to check in now before we switch over to the tube radios.
Dennis.
This is the basic Dennis, over.
650 downtown Pinedale Control, out here in the mobile.
Downtown Pinedale, you are beaconing off the giant tower there off of Univision. Pinedale never sounded so good, over.
Not bad for the barefoot radio, right? Anyway, I'll catch up with you guys next week.
All right, sounding good here into the Old Tube Radio Network and all over the world at oldtuberadio.net. Beaconing on the Universal Media Net Web. But tube radios are up next. I will be back in a moment once I set up for that. And I'll see if I can have my crew help me to find the pocket protector. So at least I'll be in some type of a uniform. The Old Tube Radio Network back in a moment.
Hey, Dennis, check in 195. I talked to him earlier.
Okay, yeah, I figure he's usually out there, so I'm sure if he's not around, he's got a good reason not to be there. I will get him checked in.
All right, have a good weekend. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, and I actually think he might be out there now. Who was that masked station?
It's 195.
All right, see, you've got a crew better than I do. You've got people out there to make sure that there is an X in the square for 195, so I made it even larger than it already was.
Well, I definitely appreciate them, too. Okay, thank you, Dennis.
All right, and we will be back in moments on your Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you there, 650.
Hey, Dennis, by the way, you should have your whistle by next weekend.
You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
And apparently it is World Radio Day today. I will have to research that as we're going along and get some information. What is World Radio Day all about? Well, at least for our purposes, it's about checking in the interesting, the unusual, and even the simple old tube radios, as many as is possible tonight. And that's what we'll be doing here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let me clear that off the screen. My name is Dennis Net Control. I have the Old Tube Radio list here. It is February 13th, 2021, and I have procured, they have helped me procure the pocket protector. Here it is. It's the green stamps. I give green stamps with Sylvania tubes. The Ad Forever pocket protector. So back in the day, who collected the blue chip stamps and the green chip stamps? And maybe you could buy, I wonder if you have to go online and find one of those old catalogs and see if actually you could purchase a tube radio with your S&H or S&W green stamps or blue chip stamps. Our sponsor tonight. Oh, this is cool. All right, take a look at this. I don't even want to know what kind of toxic oil that is. Can you see there's a little bubble. I know the light is not going to work right. It's got a liquid in there. Where is it? Okay, there's the light. You're not going to see this. But for those looking at the video, there it is. Anyway, I can't do it. But there's a bubble that moves when you move the pen. So it's not water, some type of a oil-filled liquid, some type of a toxic. Don't break this pen. And tonight our sponsors are General Electric Supply Company in Muncie, Indiana, at 204 East Willard Street, 6613 Muncie, Indiana. I don't know what that means, but it's out there on Willard Street. Hello to everyone out there on Willard Street. At the General Electric Supply Company, we've got your pen. These older pens are so much. What is this? This is something for Staples. It's cheap, it's plastic, and the ink lasts all of about 3 days. If it doesn't right. This pen is heavy. It's got real steel pieces. It's got some type of toxic oil, and it's big, heavy, and thick. So back in the day, right? All right, putting it in the pocket protector so we can get going here. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glow in the dark. It is time for me to stop talking and the tube radios to start keying down. I'm listening. All right, I got a couple. We've got 135 in the mobile. I think we'll take you first. I don't want you freezing out there, but hang on. And who else was out there? Over.
25.
45.
All right, let's get three. I'm going to mark them down. 135 is in the mobile. We don't get many mobile check-ins. You'll be, step up to the air chair, Cliff. You'll be our first radio. And then the guy that's working overtime is 00. That's Paul up in North Fork. Paul, you'll be radio number 2. And then Jerry, who's a gracious and patient guy, will head over to the green room. And it's leftovers, but Jerry, it's good leftovers from the Super Bowl. We'll catch you for radio number 3. So let's head over to, and I got to get the right screen up here, Mr. Green Arrow. Hello, Cliff from, he says, a mobile. Over.
Yeah, and it appears to be working. Yay. SWL 135 out here, mobile old tube CB radio. This is the Lafayette Comstat 25B. let's see, it's all 23 channels, no waiting. Very easy to operate radio. The mic I'm using right now is the handheld Turner 350, which is a gray plastic non-amplified handheld type microphone.
You gotta love mobile old tube radio. There were a lot of them. That's how it was supposed to be when it first came out. It was sort of base to mobile. You were talking to stations in your license class, or under your license. So, KEO 8492 base to unit 1 or mobile 2 or 3. You weren't supposed to be talking to other people having hobby-type communications. The picture we're showing, it says Lafayette Comstat B, photo from the collection of Cliff SW135. It is indeed, you have taken this very beautiful radio that we're seeing and placed it in the mobile unit, over?
This is the very same radio you're looking at, except, like I say, this is a different microphone. Oh yeah, range boost is on. And the mod light is flashing, so the needle, everything appears to be working well.
It is, and I'll make sure I get a photo or a shot of the S meter so you can see what it's working. It looks like it's from the test earlier. It's still at S9 and 5 over on the modulation. It's on channel 11, and it's probably still is on channel 11. This is the 25B is the Panasonic chassis that may or may not be the same ones that were in the Robins. But they were certainly at least in appearance, a far cry from the earlier Lafayette Comstat series. This is certainly a modern-looking, almost like a darker faceplate, like you would see on some of the stereo. And in fact, I've got a stereo just like that. When you turn everything off, you just see the dark plexiglass, and then you turn it on, and all the little lights come through. The cool S meter, and I see a red light, so that might even be the modulation light. And I don't know how you do it on your pictures, but you always, the radios are on. They're on channel 11, and if there's something cool that happens when it's modulating, it's doing it. Back to you.
Well, I try. I think there's a couple of radios I didn't get just right, but if it's possible, I do that. I've got, I think pictured there, isn't that the Lafayette Range Boost desktop type microphone?
Yes, in fact, let me see if I've got a full screen or a close-up that I can do, and we will, we can do. We'll go run over, and it is gold, and it says, yes, Lafayette, and in quotes, Range Boost. So I didn't even know they had their own microphonium.
Okay, can I switch them out here?
Oh, yeah, all right. Before you do that, I'm going to go back to the radio S meter, take a transmission, just so, I'll put the big S meter up. Take a transmission so we can see what the S meter is doing, over.
Okay, that's a good idea. We'll do it all scientific-like. Okay, this is the, what is this? The Turner 350 handheld unamplified type microphone. And now I'm going to switch over.
Okay, and I'll leave the S meter up. I didn't put the Orban meter for loudness. Sometimes we can see if it's louder, but we'll use our perceived values in our ears, and of course there's plenty of SWLs on the analog and digital side that will also help us to determine the proper or the best microphonium for the Lafayette Comstat 25B. And 23 skidoos in the history room tonight pulled out the card, said it is the second generation Panasonic, and that has the 11 tubes. And so we'll, if the microphone is plugged in, we'll go back to what would be the desk mic, but in the mobile. Over.
Yes, this is the desk mic, the mobile desk mic configuration. I don't know how else to put that, but yeah, I wanted to compare them to hear the differences in the sound. I've got the volume on the microphone cranked to about 12 o'clock. And so 1, 2, suffering, sibilance, boom, boom, boom. How's that?
All right, we've got your orange furniture, your sizzling sausage, your boom, boom, boom. I would say you definitely have more gain with this microphonium. And I saw a couple of times where the S meter moved another few dB due to the increased audio. However, there is what I'll call a fidelity issue, where this microphone sounds extremely rolled off. So the question is it preferable? Are the listeners preferring a little less audio gain, but maybe some more wideband fidelity? Or is this what I would call communications quality sound with a little bit more punch to it, a little bit better? Seeing as how it may give you a little bit more signal out because of the gain, it might work for stations that are where you're actually in the noise. You're definitely not in the noise here. So there it is. Anyway, back to you for another transmission. We have it on tape. Yeah, we're on tape here. We have it on tape so you can see the replay. Over.
Yeah, I'll have to wind back the 10-inch reel-to-reel and see how that goes. Yeah, I got the old mic plugged back into it. You know, I was looking at pictures of this thing on the internet today, and I noticed that the matching microphone that goes with this thing looks just like the Robin matching type microphone. It's a real small little plastic, black plastic handheld microphone. I did not know that before. So when I got this radio, it came with no microphone, so it just wired up this thing, and it worked. So that's the way it's been ever since. But I wonder if the Robin mic would work in this thing, or vice versa. Anyway, yeah, one reason I wanted to do this, I'm going to hook this up in the bass configuration one of these days, and we'll do the same thing. We'll compare the mics and see if it's a mobile issue or how much of it is the microphone issue. I don't know. It'd be fun to find out.
Indeed. I believe that does not have sideband. Someone asked if it has sideband. It is the second generation Panasonic, which I believe did not. And that also is what they used, I believe, for the Robin T123B, the one without the magic eye. So a little searching, you may find that you have a direct connect between that and the Robin, but best to double check. But I think the internal workings are the same. We have one vote for the desk mic, saying it sounds best, and someone else saying they both sound good, and they do. They both do sound good. They're nice and loud. So I think it depends on probably what kind of speaker you're listening on. The desk mic may have a little bit better punch on a smaller speaker, because the other microphone that has the low tones may be lost on like an iPhone type speaker, and you wouldn't notice any difference. And I'm wearing the headphoniums, and so to me the full fidelity sounds a little bit better, even though it's not as loud. Over.
Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah, we'll have to try it in the other configuration, see how it goes. The antenna being used here, incidentally, in case anybody cares, is the Wilson 1000. Now, I wanted to ask you, is that an old enough brand to be part of the same vintage? I don't know how long Wilson Antennas has been around.
You know, they've been around for a while, and the original Wilson Antenna Company, and I used to know the guy's call. It's Jim Wilson, and he's got a 7 call, and he's got a super duper QTH, and I think it's in Utah somewhere. And one of the local hams here is a really good friend of him. But that was the old Wilson company. I think he sold it, and Wilson is a newer company. And I'm going to say if you have the old Wilson 1000, then that would qualify. We can't vouch for the newer stuff.
Well, I suppose it depends on what you mean by newer. I bought this one about 30 years ago. Do you know when the company changed over?
You know, I don't know. And I think the call is something 7JW for Jim Wilson. So like a K7 or N7 or W7 JW. So I'm going to say if it's 30 years, you're probably in the old one.
Okay, yeah, and it evidently is still working. It's a mag mount, but it's to me it's a brand new antenna. But I did get it around 1990, So I guess it's starting to get pretty old. But I didn't know that like I say, I didn't even know if they were still around at all.
I think they are, but since I've never bought one, I don't know. And Dwayne, SWL30 is confirming, yes, he says the vintage Wilson came out around the late 80s, 88, 89. So 90 sounds right.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to know, too. Yeah, like I say, I didn't even know if they were still happening. But hey, that's why I ask questions. Okay, well, I'm going to head back to the barn. Thank you for letting me check in mobile. It's my first mobile of the year. There will be more.
All right, and just to confirm, you are mobile at rest because we don't see the signal moving, and you are probably, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 miles away from this location as the crow flies, and just confirming that is an AM-only radio. Over.
Oh, yeah. These are AM-only radios. The Lafayette Comstat 25B is AM only, but it does a real good job on AM. The receive audio is just outstanding. They did a good job with the speaker, too. You don't need a fancy external, although there is a provision for an external speaker if you want to use one. But this just doesn't need it. It just sounds great, but it's AM only.
All right, it sounds great because it is great. Let's see, Dwayne, thank you. Dwayne has all the information tonight. A few years back, Wilson sold out to a company out of Indiana called Nathan. So you have no doubt you have one of the original issue antennas. SWL 135, that is Cliff the Green Arrow, who a lot of the pictures that you see us using are courtesy of Cliff and his photo studio doing the best pictures ever of the radios and really making sure that the radio is featured, especially if it has something interesting. You were going to see it on there, so we appreciate your effort on the radio shots. He is mobile, running a mobile antenna, but letting us know that when they say it will run 115-volt AC and 12-volt DC, indeed it does run 12-volt DC. Thanks for taking the extra time. Radio number 1, the Lafayette Comstat 25B in the Mobile. Over.
You got to stop saying all that. You're going to swell my head. I did my best with the pictures. They didn't all come out that great. Still don't have any decent pictures of my Brownings. Well, I guess the Mark III came out okay. Anyway, thanks again for letting me check in and check in mobile. I promise I've got 3 others I can check in mobile, and I will get them in as I can. See ya!
All right, thanks for that. Radio number 1 took a little more time. We don't often get the mobile radio check-ins, and that one was flawless. It didn't cut out or do anything bad the whole time. And I know Cliff wanted to check out the difference in the 2 microphoniums, so he'll be able to give himself a radio check and figure out which one he likes the best. The old 2 radio network is what you're listening to, real radios glowing in the dark. Radio number 2 stepping up. Paul, thanks for being patient, working overtime as 00. And if you've got radio number 2 fired up here at 927, over.
Yeah, you bet. Cliff radio sounded real good on the air for mobile. Okay. Anyway, I want to check in my Midland 13890.
From Midland and the ever-popular 13-something. And I don't know anybody at Midland to know what the 13 designation was. Hey, you know what? Looks like we actually have a radio that says it's from you, and it is the 13890. You know, this looks suspiciously like maybe a Panasonic chassis. I don't know. It's just a nice looking radio. Very, very modern. It looks like silver and black. And take a transmission, see what we can find out about it.
Yeah, it is a real interesting radio. They manufactured this thing in Japan in 1968. It's made for Midland International Corporation. And that's what happened at the bad time when these things were fading out. And they didn't get rid of many of them. I'll tell you, this one has hardly any listing anywhere. Another radio on the web, just like mine, and that's it. I couldn't find anything in SAMs or anything on it, so it's not been used very much. The serial number had a 90500 stamped on it, and in the back of that it was a 128. As many as easy for me, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was number 128. Back to you.
All right, no, I think I actually have a rear view of the radio. There it is. TVI trap, external speaker, 2 amp. I was just about to ask Mitch if he thought this was one of the Panasonic chassis, maybe Series 1 since 1968. And he's saying he doesn't think it's, it's an import, but it may not be one of the Panasonic chassis. So let me go back to the front side here. It definitely has good audio. The signal is holding up well. And I see there is one knob on there that to me looks out of place. It's up on the upper right. It's like a what do they call it? The chicken head. So I don't know if that's the way it came or if something was added. That's the only thing that I see on this picture that stands out a little bit as being a little odd.
Nothing added. That is the power standby off operate switch up there. And that's factory. It's got kind of a weird, it looks weird. You wonder what it is. That's what it is. But there's not many of them that look like this out there, even the ones that came over from Japan. This has got a different look, which I think it probably does. Thank you.
All right, running good. I see it's got the fine-tuned, squelch, noise limiter PA, so no doubt this was a top-of-the-line radio. Before you go take a transmission, I'll run over to the receiver and see how the frequency is holding up here on center slot.
But that's what it is over back there. If I was looking here to Robin, they got the small meters like that too, so they were pretty popular at that time. Back to you.
Yeah, they can't all be a tram. TR-27C or Browning was pretty decent with their meters, but then you had a lot of real estate on the front of the radio. 27084.8.7, so you were right where the frequency needs to be. Talking to Paul, who is up in the hills near where I'm at, probably 35 or 40 miles away, on the Midland 13890. And I just remember Midland had a lot of 13-somethings, and when I was getting into radio, I don't remember even seeing a tube radio, but all theirs were the kind of smaller, solid-state mobile-style radios, and there were a lot of them, so pretty cool. Thanks, Paul, for bringing it by. It's our second radio.
Thank you for putting it in. Something interesting thing happened. This thing I was reading a manual of the thing, impossible to find, I thought. And Mitch Singles, who listens to the net here, actually found one for me. We've got a good bunch of friends out there. Thanks for checking it in.
Yeah, Mitch is a good guy. He's helping us out tonight, and let's see, what time is it? Maybe in about 15 minutes, I think we have a pass of TubeSat. I know he's been working on a tram, so we might try to hook up with Mitch over the satellite when the pass comes up here in about 10 or 15 minutes. It worked earlier, but it wasn't the best, so I'm hoping the next pass around will work. The Old Tube Radio Network, I will keep moving. Jerry, thanks for being patient. He's coming up. He is carrying, he's got a popcorn bucket. He's got drinks. He's got, looks like a tray of cookies, and I don't know what else. So let me clear the screen here. When you get up to the air chair, Jerry, take a transmission. OTR standing by.
All righty, Dennis. And by the way, Paul, hello. Good evening. Say hello to Kelly, and that Midland tuber sounded great. Anyway, Dennis, the potato chips were stale. The pretzels were edible. But the best thing with the champagne was still on ice, and the jingle singers are having fun. Anyway, this SWL-72 checking in on the Holocrafters, CB3A, Little Phones, Citizens Band, radio, and back to you.
Find the Holocrafters CB3A Little Phone. I think I have an advertisement. People are saying, do we have guests behind me tonight? I don't know. Who's back there? Hello? You never know who's going to pop up in the window. What was the old Soupy Sales thing where you had what was it, White Fang and the people coming in the room? I hope this isn't turning into a Soupy Sales thing. Radio, let's see. I need that one. I need that page. On the air. No, I don't need that. There it is. The clear, reliable two-way communications up to 15 miles and more with the Helicrafters rugged 3BCB3A transceiver. Simple as a phone to operate, but your calls are free. Jerry, have you ever got a bill for operating your Helicrafters?
I don't think I have. But I do know that there's a red light every time I key up. Dennis, back to you.
If the red light is on your radio and not behind you flashing on some type of police car, you should be okay. Department 7G, 5th and Costner Avenues, Chicago, Illinois. I think it was Jimmy. SWO34 had a picture in Chicago, Illinois, of the Helicrafters building. And I wonder if that was 5th and Costner Avenue. So I'll have to go back and see if I can find that. But it was a brick building, and it had the little H logo on it as well. I'll find a shot of the radio, which I think I have, as you give us another transmission. The audio is sounding really good on that CB3A. Not a problem at all.
All righty, Dennis. Actually, using a non-powered D104 2-pin microphone, which happens to fit into my Browning. And by the way, I do have the extra items of interest. I have the VFO on the left and the signal strength meter on the right, where I think a lot of the CB3As, they maybe didn't automatically come with those. Those were extras, and I have them both. And that's about it, Dennis. By golly, non-powered D104 and signal strength meter is bouncing up and down, and seems like it's working. So back to you, Dennis.
Sounds good. Let's see. Jerry is kind of over the hills and through the woods from me, and I'm going to say he might be 15 miles. He might even be farther than that, but 15 miles away. And there's actually some distance, like little hills and things in the way. So he always puts in a good signal. In fact, Paul was saying that thing sounds loud and clear. The CB3A, for as unassuming as it was, in its plain form for $159, you didn't get the meter. That was an extra add-on. And then the rectangular panel on the other side of the channel selector, you could put in I think it was a receive VFO or something. They plugged in. So you took the panels off and bought the things for $20 or whatever they were, and took the top off, plugged it in, attached to the front, and there you were. So it was accessories to the radio. It was 8 channels, fairly simple, but it was their, Helicrafters had been making receivers for a long time. They made televisions. They made some great boat anchor transmitters. I've got an HT37, which would be very early 1960s. It did not have, it's after the Class D 11 meter band, so it didn't have 11 meters in it, but they do sideband and AM. And of course, I've got the FM 1000. I was just talking to somebody about that today. We're talking about doing AMDX. We'll use the Helicrafters for that. So good. How many channels do you have installed in that 8-channel radio? Do you know?
Well, 8 channels, but the most important channel is 27.085, and that's my channel C, as in Charlie. And I was just going to mention the FM 1000. He used to fire it up once in a while and play a little Sinatra or whatever, wherever your channel selector was. But anyway, Dennis, thanks for checking in. I think I hear somebody else keying up, so I'll stand by and let it roll. Anyway, thanks for doing for over 30 years of what you're doing. Thank you very much for what you do. Back to you, Dennis.
37.
All right, one of the many net controllers here on the old TubeRadio network, and you are right. I think we started back 1985, 1986, just a gathering, not real formal, of people that wanted to get away, get down on Channel 11, get away from all the noise, and maybe like you would if you had an old car. Drive it to the hamburger stand on Friday nights and pop up the hood and open the doors and let people look inside and see the way things used to be. And that's what we do here on the Old Tube Radio Network. The sound of your tube radios. Some of you had them, maybe remember. And it's always cool when somebody comes by who's never experienced the tube radios. This is our version of opening up the hood and letting the door open so you can see all the fins and chrome and all that good stuff. I do hear a radio check-in at about 9:38, and I believe that is Chris. Over.
Yes. I checked in earlier. I want to check in the radio.
This is a good time to do that. I'm right in front of the radio list. Go ahead, over.
Okay, well, that's SWL37 Chris. We are going to check in our general radio telephone, the Super MC11A, 24-channel version of this one here, and run this here with the non-amplified stock microphone. Over.
Always sounding good. An old tube radio show favorite. And someone asked, because I know some people leave the radios on. There's some people that think, well, as long as you're not, going to blow up and fry a capacitor, it's better to keep the tubes on, so you're not making the filaments expand and contract. I'm not recommending that per se, especially in an older radio where if you're away from the house, the tubes could be fine, but there's other component parts like capacitors that could cause a fire. But I think someone asked, do you leave that radio on all the time, or do you just turn it on for the old tube radio network?
I do not leave it on all the time. I always turn it on for just the OTR, Old Tube Radio Network. Over.
And it is always a solid performer when you do. So that radio has been probably well taken care of. Sounds like the capacitors are in good shape. And I think that is another reason that we are here, to make sure that if you need to exercise the radio, as it were, you can get in for a minute or two and put it on the air just like you are doing. So back to you. It's sounding good. I don't know if you've compared the receive to your newer radio on AM, but I'm thinking the general radio telephone should stand up pretty well to that newer one.
Oh, I'm sure it probably would. While I'm doing this here, I would like to reach out to somebody in Sacramento, if that's all right with you, that listens.
Yeah, go ahead. We are always glad to have our shortwave listeners enjoying the program and perhaps on radio. So give a shout out to somebody who may be listening live or watching the playback.
All right, well, I talked to a gentleman here earlier this week that was driving through. Actually, wasn't driving through. He came to Fresno, out here in the country area somewhere, and bought some radio equipment from another gentleman here, which I don't know who it was or anything, but he ended up buying a Cobra crystal radio with the tubes the whole works, $15 he was telling me here in town. And he lives up there, and I asked him, has he ever listened to OTR? And he jumped right back and said, oh yeah, we listen to it up there all the time. And so forth, and he was telling me on and on that they have a club up there, well, I don't know if you call it a club, but the gathering of gentlemen up there in Sacramento that fires up their old tube radios on Saturday nights, I believe. And they talk and the whole works. And his name is Kevin up there, and he said he has heard my radio more than once, and they have talked about it. Kevin, if you're listening tonight, thank you very much. And call in on, check in down here on OTR with your computer. Dennis, he's more than welcome to talk to you gentlemen out there and let us know that you are listening and your friends. So I want to reach out a fine hello to you and thank you for coming through Fresno and letting us know you do have tubers. That'd be SWL37. Chris, we're listening.
Okay, great. Thanks for the shout out. We're a little bit far for ground wave to Sacramento, and we're a little bit too close for when we get the short skip. However, sometimes we get the ducting or backscatter. Somebody's got some decent stations there. We might actually hear Sacramento. Gary, who checks in with us, is also from Sacramento. So I don't know if he's familiar with that. Those going on or not. So good deal. Yeah, we try to at least sometimes set up so the SWLs can fire up. Whether we've done an Echo Link before, we did the Wires X last week, and like I said, in about 5 minutes. I'm looking at the clock here. About 5 minutes, we're going to see if I can fire up TubeSat and get the pass, and we'll try and talk to, and he should be on a radio. We'll try and talk to Mitch, who is over on the coast of California. So thanks, Chris. Your radio is sounding good, and we've got you checked in. If I find where I put my list here as radio, whatever, radio number 4, over.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dennis, for letting me get in there and say that there. And Kevin up there in the Sacramento area, I hope you do check in down here with Dennis. We do appreciate it, and I want to thank you again for the flowers you gave me about my radio. Do appreciate it. Makes me feel good. Gives me a big head. And Jerry over there in Madeira, you're sounding awesome tonight.
He always sounds good, and I'm hoping when cycle 25 comes to fruition that the conditions might be good enough so that some of the stations that have the ability on some of the other frequencies, especially 10 meters, will have a chance maybe to hook up on 10 meter AM or something like that. So looking forward to that, but that probably isn't going to be for a year or two. And then we'll check in. Maybe we'll have some replays for SWLs. The Old Tube Radio Network is looking for Radio 5. The jingle singers are saying they have to at least do, what is it? They at least have to do 2 jingles a night to fulfill their contract. So here we go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Listening for Radio 5.
OTR?
Hello, OTR, from the land of sky blue waters, I think. Go ahead, over. Okay, the carrier was there, but the audio wasn't, so keep an eye on the wiggle meters and try it again, over.
Are you coming to 45?
Listening for 56. Hello, 56, over. Yeah, you know, you're probably seeing some movement, and that's where I'm getting some crackling on the audio, but no audio. So it's keying. The microphone is keying the radio, but it seems like the audio isn't coming through. Try it again, over. All right, well, it's definitely a solid carrier, but the audio isn't there. So what I'm going to do, if you want to give it a try, I'll go to Paul, 45 for Radio 5 here, and then we'll give it a shot and see if it comes back. And then it looks like I've got the window opening for 23. So, Phil, hang on one. Maybe give it the old tube radio, thumperoo. And we'll be back in a moment. But it's got a good signal, so I think we are like 90% of the way there. In the meantime, hello, Paul. Do you have a radio for us, over?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Sound like we had a backlog, which I'm glad to hear. This is my Robin T-123.
All right, from Robin, and the, what I'll say, probably not Panasonic chassis, because that's the straight T123, but if I am correct, you should have a magic iTube winking and blinking at you, over.
Yeah, very popular radio. What I like most about it is the magic eye. And I'll tell you, it's just going small, so this mic's doing the job. May not be as loud as it should be, but it's looking good on the meter. Back to you.
Oh, no, it's really loud. It's plenty loud. I'll put up the S meter so you can see that it's also forward modulating correctly. So there's not a thing you have to do to that radio at all except to transmit, key it up again, over.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's an 8 radio. Like I say, it's made in Japan by Panasonic. And this thing has an all-copper chassis on the thing. A lot of circuit boards in it. 11 tubes. Very modern, nice, small radio. I think for the smallest one, compared to the Robins, I like it the best of all. That's when that magic eye is working back to you.
Yeah, that's a definitive item where you know you have audio. Looking at the signal, your signal strength may not be as much as some of the other radios, but the audio is perfect. So just listening, you can't tell that maybe it's a down in S unit. You're well above the noise. The fidelity is good. This one is a keeper. I haven't heard you on the Robins that much at all. So keep this one near the front shelf.
Yeah, I'm proud of this one. This has got, believe it or not, a Robin microphone on the thing. Came from Japan with it. For to find a microphone that fits these radios, if it comes with it, you're really lucky. So I'm pleased with that. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Dennis.
Hey, thanks for bringing it by. Radio 5, the Robin T123. And someone is asking, when the modulation tube burns out, would that be the evil eye? It just might be. All right, we were looking for a green radio, and we got it. Also, Chris. Oh, Chris, are you still listening? Over. All right, Chris is probably changing radios. I didn't see the question. Someone is asking if he knew what channel the group up in Sacramento is running, and that would be a good question. I wonder if Phil, if he may have went to a different channel or something, but Phil, are you still there? Do you want to give the, as we say, give the wheeze a squeeze, see if there's some audio coming through? Yeah, that is weird. It keys up. There's plenty of signal. There's a little bit of a, like a rustling noise. I wouldn't even call it a crackle. So there's something trying to happen, but there certainly is definitely no a modulation being inserted. I'll have to go to CW, so you can send us the radio. All right. Well, we'll still be around till the end of the program here. So if you find a way to make the wiggle meter wiggle, we will add it officially to the list.
Very good, TR.
All right, and we've got two breaking stations here. So let me grab. I think I heard 40. Is that correct?
That is correct. Over.
All right. Are you on a radio, or do you have a comment for us?
I am on a tube radio.
Oh, all right. Very good. And then I think I heard Eric. So Eric, don't go away. We'll fit you in on the list here. So for Radio 6 at 9:52. Hello, Larry. Over.
Roger. Yes. Well, hopefully my battery in this Turner Plus 3 microphone will last. It's reading 8 volts, so it's dying. Let me clean the dust off the microphone element. There we go. Nice and clean. Okay, what we have here is a Gemtronics GTX 5000. It's a 40-channel CV transceiver from Gemtronics, and running the Turner Plus 3 microphone, and everything. Yep, it smells like an old tube radio.
Yeah, burning off the dust. Your audio just got better there right at the end. You do have audio, so the 8 volts is working. Sounds like that is I don't know what kind of element that is. It's restricted on the bandwidth, but you got plenty of gain. There's a Gemtronics GTX 5000 photo. That is definitely a Panasonic chassis. I don't know if that's the number 2 modified for 40 channels, or if that would be like a number 3. but it is, let's see, S-meter, yeah, that is definitely the Panasonic chassis. So it's working. You found that somewhere in the basement. Take a transmission.
Well, actually, I found it in my loft, underneath about 3 pounds of dust, and I had to evict the several mice that were making a home out of it. And they grudgingly left, and they did clean it before they left too. So they got their deposit back over.
Yeah, first, last, and the deposit. Someone said that looks like a robin because it basically is. It is the robin on the inside, but on the Gemtronics on the outside, and that is the third generation Panasonic, so that would be the 40 channel, and it's one of 6 other possible versions it could be, but this is the Gemtronic one. Sound good. All right, so glad you found it and glad it was still operational.
Yes, and I do have I think I've got maybe a couple of old tube radios in the basement they need to fix and get going. But that's for another day. So, anyways, I'm going to leave this thing plugged in, and I'm going to enjoy the smell emanating from my radio.
All right, and it is the good smell. It is the burning dust off the tubes. So enjoy that, and we have enjoyed your radio for radio number 6. Thanks for bringing it by. And without further ado, let me head over to Eric, SWL 17. I think that's who I heard. Hello, Eric, over.
Dennis, you are correct. There's an eagle over here looking to say hello.
The Eagles have landed somewhere in my 8-track files. When we don't get enough Eagles, we have an exclusive recording done by the Espresso Trucking Company that I usually have to play to encourage the Eagles to land. But tonight I did not have to do that, as yours has landed quite nicely here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It actually took me a minute to adjust the A&L switch, which is the squelch, along with the volume. It all goes hand in hand, and proximity from microphone to receiver. So, I mean, you could wave it around and do all that crazy stuff. But anyway, I chose to put it in one spot. This is an amplified D104, and it seems to work pretty nicely. And if I listen close, I can hear that tube inside telling me hi.
Yeah, it will, whatever it is, the 6BQ5 or something, talking to you. I missed the model number. If you gave it to me, and I will log you in officially as Radio 7. Over.
Okay, well, let's see. This is the Browning Eagle R27 S23 with the on-the-air light as we speak.
Yes, indeed, the original Eagle, not the Golden Eagle, but the first one to have, I guess, the Eagle marking on it, which would be, let me see if I've got a shot. Yeah, I do. It's the first one that had, I want to, let's say, somebody was talking about the silhouette of me. It has the silhouette of the Eagle on the receiver, no, on the transmitter, I think.
Eagle is embossed on the left of the on-the-air light of the S23 sender.
Looking good. I've got a shot here. This one is showing the 180, which was the business amp. You may not have that, but the radio is on, for those with the video. The radio is the smaller unit on top, of course, the receiver on the bottom. These came out 1964 to 1966. They had a pretty decent run. I think there was a Series 1 and a Series 2. Series 2 consists of the R27 Series 2 receiver, the S23 Series 2 transmitter. Some of the differences from the Series 2 are larger meters, neon modulation indicator, and the lighted on-the-air dial. So you know when you're on the air. Over.
I do get to know when I'm on the air, and the extended ping is from you-know-who out there.
It's got the pingulator switch. It works good. It sounds nice. The audio is good. Almost sounds like you're far away from the microphone, but that just could be the way it's sounding here through the air. But it's got plenty of audio and a great signal.
That could have been one of the different heads. I've got a D104 on here, and one of them works better than the other.
Yeah, it's got plenty of audio. You wouldn't want, if it's amplified, you don't want to add any more amplification to that. And I'm looking on the thing here. Does that have a full screen? I want to go to the Extreme CU. You still have to spot that up, right? You're going to have to do some type of a spot switch to know your receivers with the transmitter.
That is correct. There is a spot switch. I use that to correlate the proper receive frequency, and it's definitely noticeable, easy enough to do.
All right, good deal. Radio 7, the Browning Eagle. Probably the radio that really, and I think these were still around $400, so they sold a lot of them. It was top money, but that's what you pay for the top of line tram back then. And I just remember hearing a lot of. I didn't realize that when I was listening to all these Eagles, back when I started in high school, how much in today's dollars people were really paying for these radios. But it was a quality product. It was well built, and the fact that there are so many still around today, you can still work on them and fix them. Browning did a doggone good job. Back to you for transmission. Thanks for bringing it by.
You may have noticed the ping changed, and that is all to do with the squelch. Anyway, I have put the screwdriver to a couple of radios, but not this one. This is how I bought it off of eBay probably 15 years ago. I don't think I did any cap redo or anything on this. It's just been straight from the floor. Been a good one. It only puts out about 4 watts, but hey, you know what? That's all they're supposed to do. Anyway, from Browning Laboratories, here's the Eagle R27 S23 combination. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks for bringing it by. I was trying to relink up to our satellite, and I am actually not having good luck on grabbing the satellite feed here tonight. So I don't know. We'll double check before we sign off here if it's possible. Maybe we lost. We have to have some type of special coax connectors and things like that. So maybe one of them came off because everything has to be working in order for that to happen. So if we can't get it up and running, we will try it again next week. If you're, I don't know if you're out there, Mitch, but I am having trouble bringing up the downlink here. So we'll see what happens. I may have gotten excited about checking in radios and missed our link up time. We'll see if that's part of the issues. In the meantime, I will be here looking at some stuff and listening for Radio 8 if it's out there.
Break OTR.
Okay, now there's a definitive item of interest. Hello, Break OTR.
Well, Dennis, I tried to check in the Lafayette, but obviously some problems. But I think this Burstein Appleby radio might be a little bit better. Over.
It is sounding great, and it is a good selection tonight. We are having comments from our SWLs about the great radios tonight. So here's another one that, if you thought the Midland was interesting and rare, here is another one. We'll talk about the name on the radio and what it might actually be, but Burstein Appleby, around for, I don't know, since the 1920s maybe, and this is the BA-23. Once I get the shot of it here, we might have some SWLs that actually will say, aha, I think I know who helped them make that radio. So, and it says, hey, this says it's actually from your collection. So over to you for transmission. We'll put a shot of the radio up.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I'll let you tell the story on those radios. You do it better than I do. But it is one of the more reliable radios. And it does have a hidden feature. So there you go.
All right. I knew Phil would come to the rescue. If it came to steampunk, or maybe just steam, that Phil could go in his collection. Now that's what we were talking about earlier. That's the sound I was thinking of. The Burstein Appleby radio transmitting that sound perfectly. There's the BA. It's got the Burstein Appleby logo. And I will have to see. No, I actually had that up, the information about the Burstein Appleby up, and it's gone away. But this radio here, with the Burstein Appleby logo, has these distinctive dual controls for transmit and receive. Now, it's not a tram. Tram did the same thing, but to go back earlier to a radio company called Olson. The Olson Sidebander, the Olson Spotter, the Spotter 2. And I'm pretty sure that's what we have going on here. Probably an Olson Spotter or a Spotter 2 23-channel radio. And they were no slouch when it came to audio and good stuff. I didn't hear a lot of them on the air. But they are darn good radios. And this is a cool-looking item of interest from Burstein Appleby. Sears, of course, had people make radios for them. J.C. Penney, Montgomery Ward. So why not the fine people at BA?
Well, indeed. So they were kind of the predecessor to Radio Shack. Anyway, maybe you can hook up with that satellite, and maybe next week I can get a couple more on, depending on what's going on.
Okay. Sounds good. We appreciate the effort tonight. Burstein Appleby Company, somewhere out of Kansas City, Missouri. Let's see, what else do we have anything about Burstein Appleby? That's. I'll leave it right there for now. But anybody out there in Kansas City is probably very familiar with this company. It's radio number 8. And I bet you won't hear too many of those unless you're listening to the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for bringing it by.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis trying to keep it all together here.
Well, if you weren't all together, you wouldn't be the basic Dennis.
That is basically correct.
Oh, that hurt. The R27S23 sold for $359 in 64 through around 66.
Yeah, I was thinking it was under. You could find it under $400 without too much problem. Let's see. That was probably still an increase in value from what it would cost to put together. And we were talking about that last week, an R2700 and what would be the 23S9 combination. But I don't know, like 180 and then another 260. So you're probably still around $300 doing that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if Cliff is still listening. If Cliff, if you're still listening, I got well, not the parts, but the specs on the parts that you need for the radio. So, next couple of days or so, I'll look for the actual parts.
In one of those many boxes?
Yeah, tell me about it. I thought maybe they were in this room, but I looked up on the shelf, and I do have a lot of Browning parts, but they're the Browning parts you kind of don't want to lose for sure. The ones that you'll have kind of a hard time finding. So anyway, the other ones, like for Cliff, I think are out in the garage, so I'll garage or one of the storages, so I'll have to go find it. Anyway, that won't be for a little bit. I still work quite a bit, so one more, I think, week or so to go, I hope. Cross my fingers and hope to wake up each day. But get that done, then I can get back to the important things, and that's radio.
It's amazing how that always pops up at the top of the list, isn't it?
Oh, you got it. Yeah, I've got a date list on some of the Brownings, 64 to 66 on the R27S23, so there we go there. But, and a partial price list on some of the combinations. But, anyway, dropping stuff here. But, anyway, so date-wise, I think I can come up with some production dates and some serial numbers, runs for some of the radios, so that might help. Okay, I'll turn it back to you before I'm going to have to start looking for my voice, because I'm about to lose it.
Yeah, don't do that. You might need it. All right, and the path, you know what, it looks like the satellite is coming up. Looks like we're linking. Looks like Charlie and Chet worked their magic up on the roof, putting the connector back on, and I have no idea. I'm going to have to check the chart. I may have missed the link overpass. So, Mitch, if you want to try it, I'll leave the background audio up on the link, because I have a feeling I may have missed the time here, but I think we're still okay. So the link is up. So we'll give that a shot. So if you've got the info, Mitch, on if the pass is good between us, give it a shot, and maybe we'll get 30 seconds out of this thing. Radio number 9, the R27, and Harvey, that was the R27S23, right?
No, that's still in storage. The T68R68, which went for $395 back in 67, 68. So anyway, I'll turn it back to you, and yeah, check this one in, and I'll be listening.
All right, confirming that is the R68, T68.
Yeah. Transmitter with the on-air light, receiver with the 3-position AGC RF gain type switch.
Perfect. It sounds good for Radio 9. And the Eagles are definitely landing. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. 10:13 is our time here locally. My name is Dennis, Net Control. Going a little bit of overtime because I think we do have the satellite uplink, and we are trying to do a short, and that's usually how they work. Satellites, geosynchronicity above you, so if you can hit it and it's somewhere close, you get a nice 200-mile probably spread of beaconing in and out. So we'll give a call out and see if Mitch can fire up where he's at. I think he said he's at Aptos, which is, 110, 150 miles away from here on the coast of California. And I'm not sure what we've got. So OTR is listening and standing by to see if the link is actually going to happen. It may or may not here. OTR standing by.
Don't you have to be keyed up?
Well, once I see the link connect, then we should be okay. I'm just looking to see if I can see the link.
OTR, 23 Skidoo here. If you can hear me, I'd like to check in my hand wire D201 with its original unamplified D104. Over.
Okay, now it is working, and there is also about a 4-second delay at least from the signals going up and going down and being transferred. So, yeah, Mitch, if you can hear me, Radio 10, we'll get it logged in at 10:15, and you're on the tram D201, so give it a shot. The clarity is good. Signal is still good. I don't know if we have how much time we'll have. We'll just keep going until it stops, I suppose. So back to you on a TubeSat link up. And I did not get a bill, so either we're doing this clandestinely or we're getting a giant bill out of this. OTR's standing by for the link up of the tram. And it sounds good. I don't know what you do to that radio. There is a signal strength meter, still showing pretty good, so. Well, yeah, there we go.
Thanks, Dennis. We appreciate the flowers. This is the original first version of the D201. It's the hand-wired model with the Vox keyer, made in New Hampshire. And basically, in addition to those features, it has tunable transmit audio, tunable receive audio, crystal control 23 channels, and a manual VFO that is unlocked on this radio to cover the entire 40 channel frequency band. Back to you. Over.
It's got great audio. There is a spectrum display, if I put the screen right, and I've got it out to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 kilohertz wide, and you're filling up easily 7 of that with some nice peaks past that. So it's working well. Also, the video is not very good, and you know what? It's coming in. I'm sure I do not have something set up right because it's coming in reversed. Let's see if I don't know if I can flip that or not. The pictures are actually coming in on reverse, so I'm sure I have some setting, but if that is the radio, it's beautiful. It matches the audio. Back to you. I'm going to keep my transmission short because I have no idea how much time we have here. And it seems like the delay is getting longer. Usually that's an indication that the satellite is getting out of earshot. But we're talking, Mitch should come in. We're talking to Mitch. He is in Aptos. He is actually transmitting on his D201 radio and going up through the TubeSat. Hence our delay. And I think I guess he's getting me through the internet, and then I'm getting him off the
no worries,
SAT.
Dennis. I'm sure the picture is upside down because the satellite has inverted it on the downlink. We'll see if we can get them to work on that for next time. But just to kind of put a cap on it, the D201 here has a lot of unique features, like a built-in SWR bridge, calibrated watt meter, and it's pretty accurate overall. So I won't tie it up any longer. I know we're about to run out of the satellite footprint. But until then, this is 23 Skidoo signing off from the big bird in the sky. I'm going to head back inside before it drops something unpleasant on my head. So good night all. 7-3, 23 Skidoo. We're out of here.
All right, yeah, there are big birds and there are big birds. And the velocity of something that's coming down from miles might be a little wacky. Boy, I wish you could see, if there was a way I could get this other display on the screen. I don't think there is, but you are a good 6 to 7 kilohertz audio coming on the item, and I don't know what bandwidth they allow us to have, but it sounds good. So the Tram D201 from Mitch 23, and fading the audio down on TubeSat 1. I will look. I'm not real good at. I don't have the proper manuals for this thing, so my apologies for the wacko inverted picture. The D201 is sounding good, and that is the original, like you said, the original wired version that everyone wants to have, but not many people do. Plus, it has the Vox control, which works. I don't know about AM. It works on AM, but it's really helpful on SSB. The Old Tube Radio Network. Let me get the jingle singers going. We'll be counting and amounting and signing off here. But if you've got a radio, we will check it in before we head out. OTR.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
When he says, I'm going to come in before something, quote, hits him on the head, where's he at?
Well, I don't know if he has to, I don't know what he's doing for what his part of the uplink. So maybe he has to have, obviously he's sitting in front of his radio plugged in somewhere. Well, I know where he is. He's in his location in Aptos. But now whether he has to be outside to link up to whatever he's doing the uplink, I'm not sure. So maybe he needs an umbrella.
I was going to say, I think you talked about him having to do something on the roof. So I think he's probably on a patio or something outside, running coax or something down from the roof to the outside. Because I hope he didn't haul his D201 up on the roof.
Yeah, I don't remember. That thing doesn't have a handle on it, does it?
No, it does not.
And as you know, the radios that have handles, it's like, is this a portable radio? My FT102 has a handle on it. Well, I think my FT980 had a handle on it. And those radios are 30 pounds. And the FT101, I think, has a handle on it. And if anybody's got one of those radios that are now 40 or 50 years old, I would never recommend picking it up by the handle unless you have another hand around it somewhere.
Oh yeah, the Tram Titan and Titan 2s have handles, and they're big. So okay, and then some of the Generals have rack handles. They're smaller, but they're 2 rack handles, and one on each end. But since they're not that far apart, when you're carrying them, it's kind of uncomfortable to do it. But anyway, so I generally try and haul it with one arm, one hand, but I can't do that anymore after some surgeries, but I used to be able to do that, and then with one arm, swing them up on the bench, but I haven't been able to do that for about 10, 12 years. But anyway, I just kind of wondered if he was outside.
37.
You know, I will look. He's probably now listening in back to the net or back to the stream, so he may be able to answer that question. And if indeed there is an answer, I will relay said answer. Thank you, Harvey. Also, I want to get Radio Boy SWL 72 checked in. And let's see. I did hear a breaking station, 37, I believe.
Yes, Dennis. Can I check this one in?
Yes, I do have a spot for that radio. Over.
Okay. Well, I want to check in my Chris 23 CB transceiver, a 23 channel tuber that glows in the dark, and we are running this here with a non-amplified stock original microphone for the radio. Over.
Well, I will admit that one sounds good. It's a little easier on my headphoniumed ears. It's not as, and this is not a bad thing. It's not as loud as the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, but a lot of times I have the volume turned up at a louder level than I normally would listen to something on the headphones, just in case somebody checks in who is far away, and I can hear them. I don't have to go up there and adjust things. So when you check in on the more mellow, mild Chris 23 Plus, I will not complain, but it still sounds good. Over.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sitting here while I say, hey, I still got time. I can get one more in. Harvey still... I can still do it. That's right. If Harvey's there, I can do it. Isn't that right, Harvey?
That was a yes. Radio 11 you are with the Chris 23 Plus. I'm looking. Are we back into a Panasonic chassis on this? I think we just might be, like the number 2 chassis on the Chris 23 Plus. So that's one of the many.
Yes, I think this is that chassis you're talking about. It's the same chassis that's on the G PowerMate. Over.
Yes, it is one of the many. Doing well. All right, Radio 11, the Chris 23 Plus. Thanks, Chris on the Chris, the CHRIS on the KRIS. Sounding good, and thanks for the extra effort. Harvey, if you're listening, it looks like Mitch is safely off the roof, and he says he has a rooftop-covered deck where the radio was set up for the uplink. He uses a portable uplink kit that transverts the 27 megahertz signal to UHF up to the bird, and the bird repeats the signal down to VHF. And that's how I'm getting it through the program. So no wonder there is such a delay going on.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, just think, if he actually had a big radio to haul up there.
Yeah, I can tell you, my General's got 2 chrome handles on it, on the front, and my other Kenwood's got one strap on the side.
Yeah, the General is like equipment we have, at the TV and radio station that goes into a rack, like test equipment. I always thought that was pretty cool to have that. Very industrial looking. General never did succumb to the, our radios need to have wood and plastic paneling and look like stereos or furniture so that they'll wind up in the living room. They always kind of stayed with that. It's a radio. It goes in a rack. It does a thing, and it does. They never compromised with the inside of it either.
That's true, but they're good radios. That they are, aren't they, Harvey?
Absolutely.
All right, OTR is counting and amounting. We'll be back shortly.
Anyway, Harvey, you're sounding good over here.
Thank you. I was trying to think of a radio that I have that's got a rack handle that's heavier than these Generals and Trams, and I thought of it. It's the Heathkit Cheyenne Comanche combination where I have the Cheyenne and Comanche bolted, one on top of the other, transmitter on receiver, whatever it is, and then the speaker is bolted on top of that, and on the back there's a rack handle bolted to one of the two. And at one time I did pick all of it up, minus the microphone, by the rack handle and pick it up and put it on the bench. But that was quite a while ago, and I'm not going to attempt that now. But that weighs a ton. But that's probably the heaviest one I have with rack handles. Okay, back to Dennis.
I said there was one radio came out in the 85, I believe it was, when I was in Kansas, about the size of the Kenwood, but it's not like that. I can't remember it, but it had the different bands in it. You know, I think it had different bands. It had A, B, C, D, and something like that, but you go higher and higher and higher, whatnot, like some of the other radios do. But that one had handles, but I cannot think the name of it. And it was a CB. It wasn't a ham radio, but it was a CB. It was a base station. But anyway, I'm out listening.
There were several. They were kind of big, and I'm not sure if they were solid state or not, but they were kind of big, and they did have these kind of flat aluminum rack handles at the ends. Some were kind of silver gray, some were black, and they were more decorative than anything, but you could pick them up by that because they really weren't that heavy. They were just kind of awkward. Anyway, waiting for Dennis.
You too, and me too.
And this is the kind of awkward frequency. The old tube radio network back online. I think we've counted and amounted. It is 1030. You know, the plaid and the pocket protector don't look too bad together. But maybe next week there'll be less calamities, and I'll go through the proper channels, and we'll be in the air chair in the proper way. 11 tube radios tonight. Oh, they're waving their hands. I say, okay, I know. Follow the format, net controller. I guess I can't talk about the radios until they do the copyrighted feature here.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
Current and final OTR totals for your radio pleasure. I will venture to do the 00 and redo our roster next week. Paul, thanks for working an extra week overtime as 00. We appreciate that. 14 check-ins on page 1, 18 on page 2, 16 on page 3, and 20 on page 4, for a total of 68 SWLs. Tubes tonight. There were 112 tubes total out of the 11 radios. And interestingly enough, it was almost like an 11-way tie for the most heard, meaning that there were no duplicates. But the Eagles did land, so the Brownings were the most heard manufacturer. Although if we went by, take the cover off and look on the inside of the radios, the Panasonics would definitely take the evening. Starting off with, and a lot of interesting and seldom heard radios tonight, the Lafayette Comstat 25B from Cliff, running mobile on the Wilson 1000 antenna and doing a good job with the AB microphone comparison. So hopefully Cliff can get into the video or the audio and pick his favorite microphonium, the Midland 13890. Rare, but it's a tube radio from Midland, believe it or not. And a nice sounding radio as well. Thanks, Paul, for that. That could be like a daily driver, I think, for you. The Hallicrafters CB3A from late 1962, 1963, a very popular radio, not only for Hallicrafters, but a good value. They sold a lot of those. I talked to a lot of CB3As back in my early days. Thanks, Jerry. Radio number 4, Chris on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Gotta love the ECL 800 final tubes. The Robin T123 from Paul with the Magic Eye tube. I think that was our only Magic Eye radio tonight. The Gemtronics GTX 5000, our only 40-channel radio tonight, thanks to Larry. Radio 6. Radio 7, Eric was on the R27 S23 Browning Eagle, sounding good. And we heard it before the program when he kept saying, I see you on my meter, but I don't hear you, as I was about 10% modulated, but we got that fixed. Radio number 8, Phil, jumping in with the Burstein Appleby. The BA fans, the fans of Burstein Appleby have been waiting, and they were tonight standing up and cheering, no doubt, those in Kansas. Or wherever they were, wherever Burstein Appleby is. Radio number 9, Harvey on the R68 T68. I think that's the official Browning Lavatories Golden Beagle. Radio 10 tonight, the Tram D201 from the satellite, by hook or by crook. Don't get many of the non-A models. So hang on to that one. It sounds really good. It looks, I don't know if you see the scope display or if you can. It really looks good on that. The audio is perfect. It's not overdone. It's not distorted. And considering the link it's going through, I'm surprised. Radio number 11, Chris on the Chris 23 Plus. And I said there was a total of 112 tubes. And there you go. It's World Radio Day. I neglected to figure out what that was all about, but it will come around next year, I'm sure. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for the Nixie tubes, and thanks to all of you for your participation that makes the Old Tube Radio what it is. We will be back next week, I do believe, with more of those glow-in-the-dark radios. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
And good night, Dennis. Great net, as always. We thank you.
Good night. Good night.
I was going to buy a Kiwi SDR kit, but then I went to the website and they're out of stock.
Yeah, a lot of radios and radio-related things are out of stock for various reasons. And good night, everybody.
Good night, Dennis. Have a good evening. And, hey, somebody hold Ed up there on the hill. Tell him to, swing his radio up there and go to upper side 38.
If he's listening, and Harvey, if you're listening, Dwayne SWL30 said tonight your radio reminded him of how his Browning 3 sounds.
Oh, I appreciate that. Okay, well, thank you much. And as basically usual, Dennis was basically good. So thank you, Basic Dennis.
And it looks good on the Orban loudness meter as well.
You know, something interesting with my TS-850, if I turn the AGC off and then adjust my RF gain, I can actually pull people out of the noise.
Hey, you have discovered how people used to use their radios when they had, a separate transmitter and a separate receiver. My amateur radio Elmer, back when I was about 15 years old, and he put this Helicrafter's SX99 receiver in front of me, and he said, here's how you do this. He says you take the volume, the AF gain, and the RF gain, and you turn up your AF gain a whole lot, and then you bring your RF gain up until you start hearing something. And you work it that way. So you're actually using the RF gain to bring the signal up to whatever level you need to decode it to hear it. And then in theory, supposedly you're only listening to one thing at a time. Obviously, if you're in a round table and everybody's all over the place, you're going to have your hand on the knob. But you bring your RF gain up to give you the signal and the intelligibility you need, and then you stop. You don't add more RF gain than you need to get noise, and you don't have less than you need to not hear the station. So by turning off your AGC, which is sitting there trying to, fix things for you and running your radio between the AF and the RF gain, you are doing the old school way.
Yeah, the problem is sometimes I have to readjust it for a strong signal that comes in. But then I figured out I hit my AIP, and now I can receive the strong signals as well as the weak signals on the same kind of level. So, wow, what a difference it makes.
Yeah, the AIP gives you probably less gain, and then you still have your RF gain control to do it. But yeah, if you've got multiple things going on, that doesn't work. Or if the signal is fading, then like I said, you have to have your hand on the RF gain control. Say you're SWLing a broadcast station, you can do that same thing. But of course, the broadcast station is going to be 20 over, and then they're going to be S9. Same thing if you're talking to somebody wherever, you do that. And yes, if somebody comes in that breaks in or something, it's going to overload the front end and be distorted. But the older receivers that didn't have AGCs built in, or they had switchable AVCs, automatic volume controls, that's sort of the way it was made to do it. But like you found out with the newer radios, you just turn off all that automatic stuff and go back to the old school. I guess it's sort of like, you can get rid of the automatic transmission and press the clutch.
It's amazing that my RF gain now seems, it almost acts like a tuning knob.
And that's sort of what I do. When people see the S meter sitting at F7, that's basically what I've done. I'm backing the RF gain up to get rid of the noise. But it's, if they're in the noise, it doesn't matter. I can't hear them. So I bring my RF gain so it's just at the noise. I tried that before for OTR, but it's a lot of work. If I had a station that was weak and if I had the radio right in front of me, I might actually do more of that. Especially if somebody's weak, where you could just minimize the noise with the RF gain to get the audio in. But like I said, it takes, it keeps you awake.
Okay, well, doing a little more searching, I did find a Kiwi SDR software radio board from Japan for $442. Only $140 markup from the Kiwi SDR store.
Sounds like an eBay thing. All right, I want to say 73. I'm going to stop the stream. Chrissy says she's found a good recipe, something for carrots. So I will look for it. I like carrots. I'm kind of a meat potatoes guy, but carrots are good as well. Thanks for the compliment on the wardrobe tonight. Flannel is comfortable. I will admit that. A little bit more than the seersucker suit. Good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network.
Dennis, you need to get the big rim glasses with the black frame.
Wow, I think you're on AM, but I'm not sure.
I am now. Sorry, I was on side. No, I said you need to get that big rim black framed glasses to go for everything. Make it look like authentic back then.
Yeah, well, somebody said I had the Mo Rocca look, so I'm sporting that. All right, I'm going to shut it down here, and hopefully we don't get a bill from TubeSat, the Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, do the Buddy Holly thing. All right, have a good one, Dennis. Thank you.
I'm going to give this one back to you.
Oh, man, Don, you need to not listen to these guys. Yeah, he comes from Michigan. To the other. About 30, 40.
pay more for them.
Yeah, but
He's not into that. Nobody's even asked him for 10
I'm telling
gauge.
you 600 ohm, I have to make a new die.
Yeah, they got to be 7 3/4 inches instead of 4 3/4, whatever he does.
But you could play around with the changing the ohmic value and find out whether or not distance for those snaps would come into what number that would be.